guys, it's Jerningam here. I'm going to be clicking on a video of Tony Robinson and we're going to see it.
Scumbag!
Look at this. Nah. 2 minutes guys, I'm going to go back on this in a minute. I'll try and mute this. 2 minutes. This is Tony Robinson today. This is Tony Robinson.
Am I right? No. Explain. No, I don't want to talk to you. So you won't speak. I'll never speak to you. You'll never speak. What about you? Can you speak? Can you speak? Can you speak?
I'm engaging with you.
You're not engaging with me. Nazi stuff! Nazi stuff! For you, sir!
Fucking hell, this is fucking crazy, this shit is.
You're Nazi! Get over here! Get over thinking you're Nazi! You're Nazi stuff!
What's going on in this world, really? This is Tony Robinson, I've never known anything of it.
Where is your diversity? White man. Where is your diversity? White man. Where is your diversity? White man. White man. Oh, damn it! You killed me off.
Show on me.
Oh, excuse me.
Show on.
What's the problem?
Show on.
Let's talk. Let's talk.
To the board, not me.
Let's talk. Okay. Will you talk? Will you speak? Because none of them will speak. They just scream. Why won't you speak?
You're not welcome. No invited you here. You're not welcome.
No one invited me here. I've had a great
Look at every dickhead, every criminal. That's about right.
Oh, you just stereotype people as ridiculous criminals.
No, not because they work for class man. Because he's stupid enough to take it by people like you. Con artists called Stephen Yaxley Leonard. Man who can't even stand by their own name. Because you were too cowardly over in the UCL.
Do you know why
Put your own name.
Do you know why you used it, mate? Let me tell
Yeah, to protect yourself and your family. What about the other Muslims? What about the people that are around you? What about the people you
Is that
attack?
stupid?
No, it's very clever.
Should I not protect my children?
You're too late, pal, because we all know what your name is, and your children will be well known.
You are the fascist because you're racist.
Am I? Am I racist?
Yes, you are racist.
You see yourself, yeah? And you see this whole group of people over here that are white. The only person here who's with any people of colour, my colleague. Yeah? There are only 4 black people in this whole town, and me.
Yeah, no.
So how am I racist?
Well, you're not welcome here. I
Hang on.
don't like you.
Don't you?
No, I don't like you.
Why not? I like you.
Oh, well, you got to stop that.
I like you.
Because I'm next to you, nobody votes for you.
Oh, will you?
Well, Bill, believe
Will
me.
you? I think you're
I'm with Paul Jenkins.
You're with Paul Jenkins.
Yes, I am.
Who's Paul Jenkins?
It's because the campaign is against you.
Is he?
Right.
Ah. So Antifa is a far left, radical, extremist, violent organisation. Which this man, correct?
Yeah.
Are you violent?
All against fascists.
So it's okay to be violent against fascists?
Yes, because your speech is violent.
So I'm standing in front of you, you're not being violent yet? So,
No. Why am I going to in this situation?
Oh, well, no, you just said it's okay to be violent against fascists.
Certain times, yeah.
At certain times. Certain times it's okay to be violent. And what times are they? When someone has a different opinion to you. At what time is it okay to be violent?
Listen, I'm not going to debate fascists, okay?
What time is it okay to be
No,
violent?
I'm not debating fascists. Fascists don't deserve debate, they don't deserve a platform.
They deserve to be beaten. They deserve to be beaten.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, your day will come, don't worry, pal. Don't worry.
Yeah. Have an argument. Let's have a debate. Let's have a debate. What are you doing here? What are you doing here?
What am I doing here? I'm not going to have a debate with you.
Your real name.
Oh, I'll tell you. You'll know. I'll talk to you. What do you know? What do you know about Islam? What do you know about Islam?
I don't know if they're back.
Does that piss you off? Does that piss you off?
No.
It does, doesn't it?
Nothing about
It does, doesn't it?
You're not
When
worth.
people sing Tommy, to lawyer.
No.
I'm going to be your MEP.
You know what that is in the mountain, don't you?
going to be your MVP.
It's not going to happen,
I'm
Stephen.
going to come knocking on your door when I'm your MVP. So what do you want me to change? What do you want me to do for you? As I'm your elected official, what do you want me to do for you, sir?
Well, you could stop lying about Muslims for a start.
Are you aware that there's a agreement scandal in this town that's not hit your papers? Are you aware?
Are you aware of actually who the extremists are in this town?
Are you
aware of
aware?
the defence tactic? Are you aware of the children?
Why are you going off subject? I asked you a simple
not,
question.
and
Are you aware that Muslim
you
men
don't know anything about this town.
that own businesses in this town have been arrested for raping young kids? 13 of them. Are you aware of that?
I'm not. I wouldn't believe you anyway. It was not true. That's why.
It's okay to be violent. He wants to be a fascist. He calls me a fascist. I'm standing right in front of him. These are all of my friends.
Oh my God.
They're all racists. These are all the racists in Barrow together.
How much you pay for that?
Oh, come on. Do you really?
How much you pay for it?
He's a racist. He's definitely racist.
How much you pay for it?
What do you think about him? Do you think he's racist? Do you? That's racist. That's racist. That's racist. Racist. So you think? So hold on. So you think because he's black he must be getting paid? Oh my God!
I never said
That's what you meant. You racist. What did you mean then?
I mean, people can be paid.
Oh, this is hard work. Go, get back over there. Go on. See you later. See you later.
This is
Let me ask
Speaking to you, your sort need to be driven off by trade union power, and it's only a socialist society that'll get rid of absolute filth like you. Yeah, communism. Yeah, a real socialist society. Yeah, communist society. You're filth. And that's what you'll get smashed by. The organised power by the working class. Stephen Yaxley Lennon, the man of the people, you lying scumbag. You're filth. You're filth. And don't grin at me, you filthy Nazi scum.
I'm going to be your MVP.
MEP, yeah, so you want the gravy train, don't you? And the European Parliament. I'm an imperialist super state. Get out. Unions like mine, the RMT and the United Trade Union Movement, that are going to smash you. Yeah. Because that's the only way you get rid of scum like you.
Come on, let me just get a quick picture of you. Come on, bro.
You can take a picture of the top, yeah.
Yeah, come on. That's what I want.
What you in it, or?
Okay, so come on. Come on, man. Let me get a quick picture of the top. Come on, Jim.
Video, pal.
I want it for Telegram. I've just found out that the man that says I should be violently smashed is a school teacher teaching your kids. Unbelievable. Look at the aggression in their faces. We're just having a laugh, aren't we?
You don't hear from me
I'll hear from you. How will I hear from you?
because I work for one of the top newspapers.
You work for one of the top newspapers. Oh, this could be interesting. What do you think they'll think of you? What do you think you've been paid to be here?
Maybe.
Oh, you're being paid to be here. Which newspaper do you work for?
You'll find that soon. Can you see that?
What have you done since?
Let's go. 7 o'clock. We'll be here at 7 p.m.
What have you done?
We'll be here at 7 p.m.
And do you condemn the people that are violent and in your name?
Which people are violent in my name? Thank you, darling. Which
We've
people?
had a huge rise of violence between people who are Islamic, people who are refugees,
Which
people.
people have been violent in my name?
No, but I'm asking you, would you?
Yeah, of course I will.
Would. You say that absolutely, you do not endorse violence at all.
You need to listen to what I say.
No, I'm asking you to say that for the camera. You do not endorse violence at all.
I do not endorse violence at all. I'm like
For
your friend.
anybody.
I'm like your friend. No.
fucking hell. This country gets worse and worse, man.
We're living in a times now when there's a middle class resurgence in this country, and it's about time the working class has put their foot down and said, look, we've had enough of this. Do you understand me? We want people like Tommy Robinson to represent us.
I'm Jessica Stephanowski with The Rebel here in the UK.
Tommy Robinson is in Liverpool. He just made it to his second stop in Hyden. And
Interesting.
coming out of the car, he got a rock star welcome. People were crowding. People were so excited to see him. There are some protesters here just on the other side. Police are still trying to keep the protesters away. They are doing a great job today. There's way more police officers than I saw yesterday in Oldham. He will soon make his speech. We're going to try and talk to the protesters as well, just to get a sense of why they're here today.
At some point, you've probably gone through your head about your work, about your job, about what people say. Some people here will even be lying about where they are to their family. Some people get socially excluded.
Although there is a rather small group of Antifa and socialist groups here protesting, going around talking to people at the rally, his support is so strong. Tommy's support is so strong. There's a lot of people that actually won't talk to me on camera and can't talk to me on camera because they're scared of publicly showing their support. They'll talk to me off camera. They tell me how much they love Tommy, how much they support him, and how they know so many other people that support him, but they just don't do it publicly because they're scared of losing their jobs and being disowned by friends and family, being called racist and things like that. It's unreal. It's an actual fear people have just in a democratic society to be scared to show your politics, scared to show your support. So a few times now, people wouldn't talk to me on camera because they are afraid of publicly supporting Tommy Robinson. Why do you think people are scared to publicly?
Basically, they start being labelled. They start labelling people. They're fighting for the jobs. If you work for a certain organisation that's got far left thinking managers or whatever, you can be obviously disciplined for having a political view. They're frightened of losing the jobs, and they're frightened of the repercussions because if they don't say they support him, he's got a lot more support than what people say. Heck of a lot more.
Media labels everybody who supports him, you know, either a Nazi or a racist, and I think they're just right, and they're going to get called that by general public. You know what I mean? But obviously, he's quite clearly not.
Everyone thinks he's racist, but he's not. He's just got like good political views that a lot of people don't understand.
The left aren't too nice to Tommy supporters because they're obviously they follow the media a lot, and the media lies quite a lot. So a lot of people are scared to come out and show their faces for that reason, because they'll be labelled the usual Nazi. No, for supporting their own country, looking after their own, they're called Nazis for this. I think they use the word quite cheaply to say this.
They're scared of the tarnished, branded far right, you know, usual catchphrases.
Basically, because they don't want to lose their jobs, you know. It's as simple as that. Because these people over here, you know, we're in a class war, you know. This is a class war what we're in now. Most of the people who stand over here now are middle class. They live in the middle class suburbs. They don't live in the working class areas like this. They come into these areas and they think that they can influence the working class people, but they don't, because the working class people are waking up to the fact that we're in a class war. You know, and that's the problem that we've got. And Tommy keeps talking about this all the time. Only 4% of the 650 MPs in the House of Commons are working class. The rest of them are all middle class. So we've got middle class people running our country who have no idea of our perspective or our cultural perspective or our history, and they don't care. They can just do whatever they want. We're living in a times now when there's a middle class resurgence in this country, and it's about time the working class has put their foot down and said, look, we've had enough of this. Do you understand me? We want people like Tommy Robinson to represent us. We want people who tell the truth. We want journalists like you. You work for Rebel Media. We want journalists like you. But they're blocking you off because there's a conspiracy between the mainstream media, as you know, and the government. So in effect, we've only got a few hundred people running the whole country. The editors of the newspapers in Fleet Street, the bosses in charge of the TV stations, the national media, and a handful of chief constables, you know, throughout the country. A handful of people throughout the country are imposing this misery upon us, and they're all comprised of members from the middle class suburbs. And people, working class people, should wake up to this. And it's got nothing to do with communism. This is a fact. You'll say, well, that's left wing dribble. It's not. It's a fact. These people, a lot of those people over there are teachers, you know, middle class teachers who brainwash our children in schools. They don't brainwash our children to to want to create a world that our children want to live in. They brainwash our children and indoctrinate our children to live in a world which is being imposed upon them by them and the state machine.
It's probably the most lied about man in Britain, you know. There is a feeling within very, very ordinary folk. We see the way this country's going. We especially see the Islamification of this country. And it doesn't sit comfortably. People know that at an instinctive level. I reckon if Tommy was able to get more of a message out, he would have support from, easily 70, 80% of the country. Aunties and uncles are talking about it. Grannies and granddads are talking about it. People are not happy, but they're scared to talk. They're scared of being, thinking, they're scared that they're going to be the only one if they kind of raise their voice. And this is what we're up against. It's complete media censorship blackout is what we're up against. Yeah.
You think that Tommy actually has a lot more supporters than we see?
More so, more. He had 1 million people following him on Facebook till they closed him down. You know what I mean? And you can see only on his Twitter as well the amount of people he had follows, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And I think you'll show that a show when the election voting comes up. I hope so.
There is a hell of a lot, to be honest, because a lot of people we had because of the shame, and sometimes it's because of jobs, or it could be any family reasons. You just don't know, do you know what I mean?
I think he's going to get more and more with that, them shouting stuff like that. More and more to get his support around it. Really.
Oh, there's a lot more than the events. With them being taken off Facebook and YouTube and other things, it's not helping at all. But he's got a lot of people that did support him before he came off Facebook.
I think it's stronger than people think. It's just people are intimidated by, especially in cities like Liverpool, where there's a Labour left-wing bias. You get intimidated. Anyone who speaks out of right. You've got Jeremy Corbyn was here yesterday, calling us fascist and calling us Nazis. That just before Tommy the day before. So people like Corbyn rise. People like that up against us, So Tommy's got a lot of support,
I'm here in the UK to report on Tommy Robinson's campaign because I don't trust the mainstream media to do so fairly. To see all my videos and help support independent journalism by helping me pay for my journey, please visit TommyReports.com.
Hello, from Preston. What an amazing turnout we've got. It's probably one of the biggest turnouts we've had so far. Huge crowd. So we're just waiting for the video to finish. Moving away from the speakers a little bit so you can hear me. Probably be live in about 5 minutes. 2 seconds live. Really? Sorry guys, 1 second. Sorry guys, 1 second. Something's come through or something. They said to get the car in. Yeah. Turn it on. Mark's in there. He's a driver. Mark, in the line below says, no trip leads to this green service. Not only do they want headlines to fake news that somehow I cause damage to people, but they then make a joke about previous assaults, whilst ignoring the fact that violence masked Muslim deaths are miles. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. I've just come through that get the cars ready. We've had some reports of Muslim Defence League members have been stopped on the main road up there as they're trying to travel down. I don't know if something's changed as to why they're asking for the ability to have a safe, open, democratic political campaign in England. Try to find out some more news, guys.
finger.
Families come under violent hostile attack.
Sorry, the crowd. It's amazing.
Supported by the police. That's the reality. That's what the headline should have said. Innocent bystanders, innocent members of the public going to a political rally. They're right. They're right and wait. But they're at the attacks. But not one of the mainstream media told them. How many of these videos have you seen? How many of them have you seen? How many of them have the news reports?
As you guys can see here, this is my thumb. Please like and comment and subscribe in this video. See, I'm pointing with my finger now. This is my thumb here. So what I'm saying is, with my thumb here, please like, comment, subscribe. And look at this, I'm pointing. There's loads of people here. See? There's my hand. Here come my hand, a giant hand. I was getting a bit carried away then. Yeah, but like and subscribe to these videos, guys. They're very good. I was getting a bit carried away there, as you guys saw.
So, that's an intel that now the anti-fascists are on their way. Wait for this video to finish before Tom... We have got some police presence. I mean, if they did come through the park, I'm not sure she would be able to deal with it, to be fair. We've got a couple of police officers there, but we'll find out. Wait, just a quick one. We've some intel and some anti-fascists coming down. If they do come, have you got any more resources than what I can see? Yeah, okay, so you've got vans in places ready. Okay, thank you guys, appreciate that. Thank you. Cheers. Hello. Show Q-Shoes. So, yeah, apparently they've got police in vans places, but that doesn't really help. They come straight through.
This doesn't make you vote on the 23rd of May, nothing will. Make sure you vote. I've seen bricks being thrown at fans and scissors. They're throwing scissors.
I'm going to check one thing, guys. While that video is playing, just to find out. Mark, where's your car? If you do need to shoot off, you've got your kids, so I've got them. I'll do it. Alright, cheers, mate. Sorry, guys. That video's nearly finished, from what I can hear.
You've seen the police trying to prevent the campaign, and now this.
Massive crowd.
I'll let the hand tell you. I appreciate you speaking to me, but what my concern is this. Men like you know exactly why they were out there, and they were here to cause trouble. Why on earth did the police officers did not stop them right at the end, right at the start of it? It's because they wanted this reaction to happen. Why?
You're a local man. Thank you very much.
They're on a label, Tommy. They're on a label, Tommy. Are the trouble shooters, that's why. Right, and you're playing into the hands of your chief constables under their orders. This is why this has happened. Right, okay.
The establishment has literally thrown everything at you during this campaign. I never would have imagined they'd have their police lead a Muslim mob wearing balaclavas to my family-friendly campaign event to attack it. We all have a choice on May 23rd. I need you. You want to send a message to all those traitors in Parliament, then vote for Tony Roberts on May 23rd. It started off with milkshakes, and then it was X, and then bricks and violence, and complete attacks against innocent families. You've now witnessed what happened. The scary thing is, not one single politician, not one media has condemned the behaviour of these masked thugs. Instead, they've all spun it completely and led the public to believe that my supporters and myself caused disturbances on May 21st. Send them all the message. I need every single one of them. Share this message everywhere. Share the truth. That's what I'm asking you to do. Share the truth about what happened in Oldham. Share it to your email list. Share it in your WhatsApp group. And let's send all of them a message together on May 23rd. Change is coming. Those of you worried about the children who have to be escorted out earlier from the demonstration. The card's in my boot. I'll read it, put it on Telegram when I get home. Cheers, thank you. See you later. Thank you, little man. I'll read your card later, brother. Right, you right? See you later. See you later, bro. See you soon. See you later, man. Alright, Sam. See you soon.
You working? Hello, Preston! What are you doing this week? Come on! You see what you just watched there? I bet many of you have already seen it. Hopefully you've seen it. The censorship already. This video has gone up on multiple different people's YouTube channels and it's been censored. Age appropriate, can't be shared, can't be commented. They don't want the public to see the reality. This was orchestrated. You witnessed. I started on that because we were set up round the corner in the middle of that estate, and a lady who lived in the house next door come over and said, "I'm sorry, but I watched your video in Oldham, and I saw what happened. Can you guarantee me that hundreds of masked up balaclava men are not going to come here and attack you?" I said, "I can't." So can you guarantee the police will stop them? I said, "I can't." So if I've got my children here, I'm not part of this political rally, and I don't feel safe. The fact that people can't have political rallies without that level of fear is the reality of where we're at. We agreed to move. The fact that all of you have watched that video and you've still come down, you're still standing here, sends everyone a message. It sends them all a message. And I'll tell you, this is probably the best crowd we've had all across the North West. Come on, Preston! I'm getting more confident as the days go on in this campaign. We are winning! We have a reporter here from the local newspaper. Do we see, let's just see what comes out. Do you see far-right boxing? Or do you see families and normal British people? Please report what you see. Please report what you see. To every one of you, we are going to make history this week. Never before has an independent won in European elections. Never before. Never before. We've had to see what they're doing to us. We've seen police interference in Cumbria. We've seen all of our social media removed. We're not fighting a fair election. Everything has been shut down and silenced. My ability to speak to you has gone on social media. It's gone. And against all of that, we're going to absolutely smash it this week. We must, you see what we're doing now. You see, bringing our communities together. Every one of you getting to know each other. We've created a movement. A movement of people. Look. Hello again. Look around you. Look around you. Feel your strength. This is part of a tidal wave of patriotism that is sweeping across the Northwest for the last 3 weeks. Until we organise, what we've become as a society is selfish. Most of us care about ourselves and only ourselves. People, I understand it. 10 years ago when I started my Okay. Okay. Tell the journalist about the story. Stop lying to him. So, I wore a mask and I used a fake name because I was scared. I know that everyone has been scared. I was scared of losing my job. I was scared of violent attacks. I know that every single one of you, even sharing articles, can bring social problems. Even I say that every rally I go to, and people come up to me afterwards and say, I don't want to hot some bloke up, so I changed the make of the car he told his wife he was going to look at. But every single place I go, I say, some of you probably have to lie about where you're going. Make excuses. Some bloke come up to me afterwards and said, my wife thinks we're going to look at a BMW today. And here I am. So I know what it means to take that step. I know what it means to finally come out, to finally speak your opinion. Too many people in this country feel censored and feel silent. The reason the movement is built behind us, we started 10 years ago, it's grown and grown and grown and grown. The reason is because people don't feel free. I wouldn't say it is me. I'd say it's the fact that people everywhere across this country feel silence. They feel voiceless. They're watching their country change for the worse, and there's no one saying anything about it. They're witnessing the decay. We have 650 MPs, and not one of them has ever stood up and said one critical word about the problem we see from a certain section of the community in our country. I'm asking every one of you. So I want to be your voice. I want to be your voice. And I've watched when I was after my court case got kicked out of the Old Bailey. Who was there that day? Who was there that day? Wow, historic moment. When that happened, I was invited to dinner at the House of Lords by Lord Pearson. I went for dinner, and then I watched on the news the next day the sneering by the politicians, the lies they told, their contempt for us, not for me, for us, the labelling of us as people. It's disgusting. I remember watching it that day and thinking, one day I'm going to sit in there amongst you, and it's going to rock that bit. I'm asking you now. On the 23rd of May, we have an opportunity to strike like a bolt of lightning right into the middle of them. Send me in, please. Send me in. I promise you, I will be a voice. I will never be politically correct, as I'm sure you've all worked out by now. I will never shy away, and I do it because I care. When you look at politicians, I watch all these politicians, and I watch them speaking. I say, I don't even think you believe what you're saying. And there's one thing that people guarantee with me, they know I believe this. They know I believe it. I care. I love our country. I love it. I want what's best for it. Every one of us have a duty. We have a duty as parents. We have a duty as Englishmen, as Englishmen. Our forefathers, and I think all the time, I think deeply, I've sat, and I've had to think deeply, because I have to debate and have these arguments with my mum. My mum doesn't try and argue anymore, she's still started. But my wife, because when I think of what previous generations sacrificed, they sacrificed their lives. Children pretended they were men, they lied about their age, they willingly run and they fought and they died, and they've done that for their country. They didn't shy away and hide. They've done that for a safe and prosperous Britain for every single one of us. Right now, we as people, as British men and women, have failed for the last 20 or 30 years. We've been cowards in fear. It's about time we break that fear. It's about time we stand up. And I'm asking you, on the 23rd of May, I don't want it to be a protest vote. I don't want this to be viewed as, yeah, people are angry, so they protested with a vote. I want the 23rd of May to be the start of an uprising. It's the start of an uprising. And it's 74, I keep going on about class, and I don't want to alienate anyone who's middle class or from Middle England, because so many of them are now supporting it. But when we look at Parliament, the reason why I get frustrated and I get angry, the reason why so many of us are so disillusioned with British politics, 75% of this country are from working class communities. Only 4% of Parliament are from working class backgrounds. There is no representation for hour. How many of you sit and watch any political debate? Any of their chat shows? I'm asking that on the 23rd of May, we send the establishment a message. We send the media a message. And we send the European Union a message. The love I have felt over the last 3 weeks. Even with all this, whatever's gone on, I have turned lesbian. Look. I have smiled my way through. I'm smiling every day because everywhere I go, I don't just get people shaking my hands. If a car drives by, they don't just go, all right, mate. They go, come on, Tom. Come on, Tom. When I get hugs of women, I feel the love. So I want to say to every one of you, everywhere I go, I feel so loved. And it's an amazing feeling. It's a great feeling. We have built a movement. When I was putting prisons outside Leeds Crown Court, how many people here was at the moment that you started watching Reading Lane? At the moment. So when I got put in jail, I got letters like this, and I read for 6 hours. That's what I sent myself to. I read for 6 hours, and I then read so many people's emotions, how passionate people were. I read people who said, I've never been politically motivated, I've never attended a protest, I've never wrote to anyone in prison, and I'm about to do all three. Yeah? That is what we need to do. We need to politicise our people. We need to involve ourselves. 22 million people didn't vote at the last general election. 22 million people. I have never ever voted in my life. I've never voted. The reason they betray us is because we're not putting them in power anymore. We don't vote. Some of the wards I've looked at in the northwest, 82% of people don't vote. And I've had so many lads saying, I've never voted, I'm voting for you. If we get the non-voters voting, if we get our communities politicised, it will strike the fear of God into us. And it's the north currently. How many people here? You've had 8 MEPs on £96,000 a year. They get £300 a day. £300 a day expenses with no receipts needed. How many of you here? Can anyone name one of your MEPs? Then clap it round. You've had 8. You've had 8 MEPs, and no one's heard a word about them. British politics, and the European Union need to speak up. Trust me, if I'm elected, the whole world is going to hear out your MEP and what he's got to say.
Screen's gone off. Screen's just turned itself off. Really got a sore throat.
It's great. We've got 3 more days. 3 more days. What we need. I need so many people come out to me saying, I've got mum voting, I've got my auntie voting. That's what you've got to do. We need every single one of you. We've got our whole estate voting. Take them to the polling station. Take them there. We need every single one of you to take this message away. This is a message against the establishment. I want to rock the establishment and I need you to do so. Take this message away. Speak to your friends, speak to your family, speak in the playgrounds, speak in cafes, speak on the builders' yard. Make sure everyone is building up for the 23rd. Make sure everyone's talking about it. Don't feel, because everyone's been one of them people who thinks, what's the point? What's the point? It's never going to happen. We need to prove to the rest of the country, and trust me, we will do it. If we win this election, it will inspire people across this country to see and think they did it. He did it in 4 weeks. He galvanised the working class in 4 weeks. And if we do it in the North today, we'll do it in the rest of the country tomorrow. We need to go city by city and state by state, taking our country back politically. And just picture, I said even to the people, lads, there's a few Muslim lads over here, how you doing, boys? I probably doubt they agree with me on everything. But there's one thing we all hate, it's the establishment. So if you boys want to rock that establishment, get down there and vote for me as well. There's no one they want to see less than me walking in there. You have an option, you have parties to vote for the North West. You can vote for the Brexit Party, which is Nigel Farage's Brexit Party. They are topping the polls across the whole country. Nigel Farage deserves a lot of respect. But he has sacrificed his life to fight the European Union. I think Nigel Farage, if he hates the European Union that much, he should be saying this. If the Brexit Party gets 25 MEPs or 26, it makes no difference. If the Brexit Party gets 25 MEPs and Tommy Robinson is elected, it's going to cause mayhem. It's going to cause mayhem. For too long. I don't believe the media. I do talk honestly and openly about problems. I hate you boys. Lads, go lads. The establishment have been laughing at us for too long. Every time it's an election, we have witnessed the betrayal at every level across our country. We've watched the betrayal of our daughters in 78 towns and cities where our children were sacrificed due to political correctness, and the police stood by as our children were gang raped across this country. We've seen the betrayal of free speech. It has literally disappeared in front of our eyes. We live in a post-free speech era. Our grandfathers fought so we could have freedom, and they're slowly taking it away from us. We've seen and witnessed the betrayal of our armed forces, who have now been tried for fighting a war in Northern Ireland. The final betrayal was democracy, when 17.4 million people voted to leave the European Union. This election should not even be taking place. They have been laughing at us for too long. On the 23rd of May, let's wipe that smile off all their faces. When we talk, so people understand, you will vote, eight people will be elected to represent you as MEPs. I don't know what the other 7 are going to do. I know what I'm going to do. I know exactly what I'm going to do. Even if you look, so people can see how much they want to stop it. The date, I went to court last week. I've been retried for the offence I've already spent nearly 3 months on social confinement for reading some lady giving it in. This is what I read. It's still available on the internet. It's publicly held information that's online. This is exactly what I read in court. I read what's already online. It's not against the law. It's no crime. I've already done jail time for it, but they've recharged me. Now, what they've recharged me for, the date when I'm elected as an MEP, my first date in office would be the 4th of July. What date do I have to attend? The Old Bailey? The 4th of July. And on the 4th of July, I know no matter what they do, they lose. No matter what they do, they lose. The British public have already made their mind up on this issue. Everyone who's watched that video, I think 8 million people watched that video. Everyone can see I've done nothing wrong. I was calm, I broke no laws, I've been to jail. If they send me back to jail, like Judge Marson done last time, more people will be woken up. More people will be researching. More people will be realising the media have been lying to them, not just about who I am, but about who our movement is. I had another lady over here when I spoke in the estate who thought, oh yeah, I've got mixed race children. I said, yeah. The betrayal and the image put across, it disgusts me that people are absolutely lied to. I absolutely despise racism. I despise Nazis. I battled the racists for 10 years. I've battled every single one of them. I've done more for the left-wing activists watching this. I've called them out. I've had running battles with them. They'll go on about my violent conviction. My violent conviction was for knocking out a Nazi. I've done more to fight them. I've done more to fight them. So to know that people are still being lied to, this is the reason I need every one of you. Do you know my 9-year-old son was threatened at school by 3 12-year-olds. They were threatening to stab him actually, yeah? Because they said his dad was racist. Now, these children weren't Muslims, these are young black lads. And when I went to see their mums and their families were lovely. I met one lady from Uganda and she was so upset about her son. I met her boy and he was actually a lovely kid when I got talking to him. And everything he'd been told, when I sat down with him, everything he'd been told was a lie. And that's why the journalist I just pointed out to here, the reason why I get so sick of this is because your lies have consequences. Your lies have consequences for every one of us who you're calling racist, for every one of us who you're demonising as far right. You've had consequences for my children. I've never spoke about race. I don't care if you're black, white, brown, yellow, I don't care. I love all of you. I talk about religion and that's why these lies. That's why every one of you. I need you. I have no social media, we know that. I'm gutted, I still miss it. I deleted my life to concentrate on Twitter when I was on it. But I need...
Right, just give me a second. You okay there, Vampire? Vampire?
Yeah.
I'm not ignoring you. I'm just filming something on YouTube, so that's why I've muted you for a minute, because I'm just putting something onto YouTube. So don't call me on my phone because I'm trying to film this thing on my phone. Put on YouTube.
Alright.
Just so you think I've not gone anywhere. You probably thought I've gone somewhere, which I haven't. I'm still here. Because it'll mess up the film what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So I'm not going anywhere. I'm not ignoring you. So.
Alright. It's fine.
Just letting you know, so you probably think where I've gone, and you probably try and call me on the phone, and then it'll mess up the video. So I'm still here, okay? Message me if you need me, okay?
Alright, it's fine. Well,
on the gate. Thing. I'm still going to be here. I'm not going anywhere. Bloody hell. Yeah?
It's fine.
Yeah. So about it, guys. I just talked to my friend in the party chat. Don't want to feel rude. My mate being in the party chat and I'm filming this. Even though a lot of people know about Tom Robinson, but...
Because I've got no social media. That's why we need to literally... Because I think it's better anyway. Social media or coming out onto estates like this. I want to travel for the next years. Coming to different estates across the country. Getting people out. Building a network. Getting myself...
The thing's gone off again. It's done this several times. It's gone off the TV and it's very annoying.
Every age, every sexual orientation, all different people. This, everywhere we go, I see the backbone of Britain. And then I see that lied about, labelled and tarnished. The police here have been, we're in Lancaster, we're not in Greater Manchester now, because Greater Manchester police let that happen, so the police... Yeah, please.
Right, there we go. Let's see what else is on here. Anything else more about Tony Robinson? Oh, Tony more about Tony Robinson.
They are censoring the one video that they think, and to be honest, I agree, will win Tommy Robinson this election. This past Saturday, the Vote Tommy campaign travelled to Owen to run a rally in a local estate, a non-Muslim area. The family event was attacked, violently attacked, by Muslim rioters who travelled from across the country to engage in this violence. The following day, the mainstream media pumped out fake news story after fake news story, article, hit piece after hit piece, framing their attack on Tommy's official legal MEP campaign as merely fights breaking out, insinuating Tommy and his supporters bear any of that blame. But yesterday, the great team at TR.news published the truth, with footage from both sides, showing you exactly what the media was hiding from you, including footage that showed you Tommy Robinson himself being forced to put kids into cars under police protection, taken away from the scene. Rocks were being thrown. So instead of the mainstream media correcting their fake news, they decided to go further and to pressure YouTube to restrict this 20-minute expose, to restrict the truth, to hide it. Because this video is now restricted, to see it, to view it, you have to sign it. Many of my subscribers have told me that even though they've pressed the red bell to receive notifications, they never received a notification about this video particularly. And the recommended videos, it's just not showing up. This is censorship, and this is actually happening. This is for real. The proof is in the pudding. The amount of views that this video has received is minute. It should be absolutely viral. The entire world should have seen it by now. There are many more videos on my channel that do much better with far less relevant and hard-hitting content. The fact is, if Tommy had still had his YouTube and Facebook pages, this would be on Fox News by now because it would have been viewed millions and millions of times. Every single Brit would have seen it. It would have locked in that MEP seat for Tommy Robinson. So we need you. We need your help. We need to make sure that this video gets everywhere. So please, be Tommy's voice because he doesn't have that platform anymore. The best I can do is this video. So in the description, there is going to be a link to the YouTube video. There is going to be a link to the TR.news article. In this TR.news article as well, there's going to be the video below. Share it. Don't stop sharing it on every single platform because your job is to help us to ensure that this video is put in front of every single Brit, no matter how hard they try to suppress it. Because if we do that, if we manage to get this video in front of every single Brit, at least in the northwest, then I guarantee you, Tommy Robinson will be an MEP next week. The MEP that you guys in Britain so desperately need. Make sure to share it.
See what else is on here. This one's 9 hours ago.
The people who are opposing you now, they're stuck. When their eyes are open like every one of you.
Hello. I'm trying to film this video and I got people, I'm in a party chat as well, as you guys can see.
They'll realise how wrong they've been. And I've watched the change and I've got the satisfaction of seeing the change. I've seen people who hated me.
I'm trying to film this video and I'm in a party chat.
I used to walk around the streets getting spat or getting punched in the nose. Now I get embraced, hugged, loved. I haven't bought a beer for about 4 years. So I've seen that. And one thing I want everyone to take a moment, because everywhere I go, I see that people are feeling it. And that's changed, because it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that 10 years ago. It wasn't like that 5 years ago. So I've seen how the public view has changed. I see how people see me and they don't just, if cars pull up or drive by, they don't just say, all right, Tommy, they say, come on, come on. So people are feeling it. People are feeling it. And the message to all these socialists over there who are all funded to be here, the message to the government, to the establishment,
A lot of cops there.
there is not enough money in the world to stop what has started. There is nothing the police force can do to stop what has started. No establishment, no ideology, no religion, no communist, no Marxist. No one can stop what has started. I remember standing on stages 7, 8 years ago saying the swing from left to right that we're witnessing is happening and you cannot stop it. I stood and watched the change in Europe. We're witnessing a worldwide political revolution from the Donald Trump election. From the Trump. Don't be fooled. Americans, don't be fooled to thinking the British public don't love Donald. We respect and admire his bravery. But I watched Salvini years ago. I looked at the Liga. The Liga were a fringe party, unheard of. 4 years ago, they polled at 4%. In the last election, Italy had been ruled by left-wing governments for 70 or 80 years, and they got booted out in a historic moment when the Liga went from 4% to 24%. Salvini, now the man who wants to protect Europe from an invasion, is now one of the most powerful men in Europe. But 4 years ago, he was unheard of. So know that when the tide turns, and it will turn so quick, so fast, how many people feel they can freely say what they feel, freely speak about how they think, freely within work. Everyone, him, this legend here says what he wants. Him. But all those people feeling oppressed, feeling silenced, feeling censored, feeling voiceless. When that happens, when that swing happens, and it's coming, it's going to happen so fast, so quick, that everyone who's been feeling silence is going to be screaming it and making sure everyone knows how angry we are with what's happened to our country, with witnessing the destruction of our beautiful land. Who pays their TV licence? 1 million people signed off their TV licences last year. It may have got me deleted from the universe, but it was worth it, every second of it. John Sweeney, where's your panorama, eh? The trust in media is gone. No, you've just witnessed it there. English families, innocently, and picture this, we're here now. No one's here for trouble. People have brought their children. We're at an election campaign rally, and the police escorted for miles men they knew were coming to violently attack people. That is a complete failure at every single level. But the biggest failure is that when that happens, the media lie to the entire country. The entire country has been lied to for the last 24 hours. That my supporters, and I take it personal, because I meet these people here now. This is the backbone of Britain. The bravest, strongest, best people in Britain are part of our movement. And the way they demonise and slander them everywhere. And look, it's a complete opposite to the reality of the situation. So, to every one of you again, I'll say a thank you. It's the first time I've been to Ireland. All right, lads. Imagine this, and why I say the country's ready. The country is ready, trust me. Everywhere I go, I see the passion and the feeling.
Interesting program. Right, so I'm just trying to think of what I can do next. Yeah, I'm alright. I'm just filming some things on the TV. No, I'm alright. Well, it is hot in the house. I'm entitled to do that when it's boiling. So, does it really matter? Well, I see it boiling in there. That's why it is what it is. So, whatever to that then. Right. Put the next video on, guys, and watch that one, I think. So, anything else about Tony Robinson? Someone bloody knows. Itchy nose as well. Got Nigel Farage speaking as well, the main candidate.
Ever since the 2016 Brexit vote, some in the mainstream media have constantly, sometimes intentionally and sometimes unintentionally, showed their anti-Brexit bias. Today we're going to show you some examples and talk about the reason behind it. Let's start with Channel 4, one of the most neutral and balanced news channels.
What is more about?
Yeah, right. The other day he decided to check
bollocks
around Nigel Farage when he was out campaigning for the European elections, and all they did was basically just kept shouting, "Who funds you? Who funds you?"
So, £13,000 for the house in Chelsea paid for by Aaron Banks? True or not true?
So is there a European election next week?
Yeah, we'll ask about that in a minute.
Good.
But let's talk about the money. Can we talk about the money, please?
No.
So, £5,000 for the bodyguard and driver a month? Nigel, who's paying for all this now? Is Aaron Banks still paying for some of it? Who's paying for all this now, Nigel? Nigel, one more time, just for the record, who's paying for this operation now, for all your bodyguards?
Russians are paying for Nigel Farage.
Okay, so apparently they're scrutinising each campaign when it comes to spending. But are they? Facebook confirmed only last month that the anti-Brexit campaigns have spent almost £900,000 on advertising on their social media platform. Yet we're still waiting for Channel 4 to investigate this. Yeah, don't hold your breath. Channel 4 have also failed to notice the new billboards that the anti-Brexit campaigners have been spreading across the country. The anti-Brexit campaigners have appeared to spend over £230,000 on these anti-Brexit billboard campaigns across England. This is, by their own count, is actually more than £70,000 over the legal limit of £159,750 when it comes to campaigning spending. Yet, we're still waiting for Channel 4 or even the BBC to report this matter. The next example is the recent Andrew Marr interview with Nigel Farage. Now, the problem with this interview was that Andrew Marr decided to simply focus on a few bullet points and pre-prepared lines, line of questioning, instead of actually being flexible during the interview and properly scrutinising Nigel Farage when it comes to this campaign. This is what happened.
Do you want to discuss these European elections or not?
Yes, I certainly do. But
Go on then. Go on then, let's try.
Do you still believe that worrying about global warming is the stupidest thing in human history?
I believe that if we decide in this country to tax ourselves to the hilt, to put hundreds of thousands of people out of work in manufacturing industries, given that we produce less than 2% of global CO2, that isn't terribly intelligent. But as I say, here we are with one of the biggest changes in politics that's ever occurred, and you're not even interested.
Do you still
What's wrong with the BBC?
Do you still want to
What is wrong with the BBC?
Do you still want to roll back gun controls and
What
reintroduce
is wrong
handguns to this country?
This sums it up. Do you know, I've been going around the country speaking at pack rallies every night. And do you know who's not there? The BBC. And from this line of questioning now, I can see why.
Do you still?
You're just not interested, are you?
Do you still feel uncomfortable with foreign languages being spoken on trains?
Let's talk about democracy. Let's talk about trust. Let's talk about competence in politics. This is ludicrous. I've never in my life seen a more ridiculous interview than this. You are not prepared to talk about what is going on in this country today. You're in denial. The BBC's in denial. The Tory and Labour parties are in denial. I think you're all in for a bigger surprise on Thursday.
We have talked
than you
about
can
it.
even imagine.
We have talked about it. Do you still admire Vladimir Putin?
No. I've never admired Vladimir Putin.
You asked,
I said I wouldn't like to give
asked
his
which current world leader you most admired. You told GQ magazine, as an operator, but not as a human being.
Yes.
I would say
Well, there you
Putin.
are.
The way he
So there you
played
are.
the whole
So there you
Syria
are.
thing.
Not as a human
Brilliantly.
being. So I don't like him as a human being. What is your question? What is the relevance of this?
So as you saw, he didn't actually even care about Nigel's answers, rightly or wrongly. He was robotically just focusing on the bullet points on the paper that he had and just kept firing questions without acknowledging the response he was getting from Nigel Farage. But it's fine because Andrew Marr is a neutral and professional journalist, so he would probably do the same to the other side, right? Well, unfortunately not. Yesterday on his show, he had Jeremy Corbyn as one of the guests, where he asked Jeremy about a number of things, especially the Brexit position of the Labour Party, which is getting boring again. And he forgot to ask a very, very important question. Only a couple of days ago, we had the terrorist organisation Hamas sending out a tweet thanking Jeremy Corbyn for his support and his hatred towards Jewish people in Israel. Yet, since that tweet, no one in the media, including Andrew Marr yesterday, even bothered to ask Jeremy Corbyn about that. This is the same Andrew Marr show that decided to have a panel of guests on his last show just before the European elections, where they failed to invite even one single Brexiteer. We had the leader of the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, we had Nicola Sturgeon, Rory Stewart, Vince Cable, and Tracur Munna. Every single leading Remain figure was on the panel without the presence of any Brexiteer. Now, the main issue with this whole thing is that we have a lot of journalists and reporters in the mainstream media who try so hard to pretend to be like Andrew Neil, who is someone who is genuinely professional and neutral For example, Andrew Neil recently did an interview with Ben Shapiro, the American conservative commentator, where he massively grilled and scrutinized Ben Shapiro up to a point where Ben actually lost his nerve.
It's an interesting book. But my point is, your book claims that
Well, it'd be nice if you would quote it from time to time.
Your book is, well, actually, I've done so several times, and I'm about to do so again, if you would let me just finish the question. Your book claims that society is turning its back on Judeo-Christian values.
Yeah,
what are those values? What are the values it's turning its back on?
I'm not inclined to continue an interview with a person as badly motivated as you as an interviewer. So I think we're done here. I appreciate your time.
All right. Well, thank you for your time and for showing that anger is not part of American political discourse. Now, Mr. Shapiro, we'll say goodbye.
However, afterwards, Ben Shapiro understood what actually happened during the interview and sent out this tweet. Just pre-taped an interview with BBC's Andrew Neil. As I'm not familiar with him or his work, I misinterpreted his antagonism as political leftism. And that was apparently inaccurate. For that, I apologise. Now, this is how you do it. So massive credit to both Andrew Neil for being professional and just doing his job, and also Ben Shapiro for publicly apologising after realising what actually happened during the interview. It's because of someone like Ben Shapiro, who apparently got destroyed in the interview, he's realised and he appreciates the work that Andrew Neil does. Because Andrew Neil knows his stuff, and he knows how to actually be balanced, regardless of you being left-wing or right-wing or centrist or whatever. Now, putting individual examples aside, I don't believe every single mainstream journalist is left-wing or anti-Brexit, but there's a wider problem. The broadcast journalism that we see these days is all made in a rush. They don't have a long time to interview someone, so they have to be punchy and also make it entertaining because they're competing with social media, which is sad. The only way the mainstream media get the right attention is if a clip goes viral. Again, like the Ben Shapiro interview or the Nigel Farage interview. Again, not all the mainstream media journalists are bad, but there are certainly a lot of biased ones out there, and they're actually quite visible and loud. So when we see it, we have to call it out, because this is the only way we can hold them accountable. Now, before we finish, I want to give you a heads up. Over the next couple of days, I'm going to post a video with a huge announcement. Something that you could be a part of, maybe a campaign. So make sure you tune in. And again, as always, if you haven't yet, make sure you click on the subscribe button and the notification bell next to it. And I'll see you all tomorrow with the announcement.
No, anything else on can find?
Whatever your feelings about Nigel Farage and his politics, you have to acknowledge his popularity, his staying power. Take today, crisscross the country, bout after bout. Round 1, Gordon Brown's gloves-off attack on where the Brexit Party's money comes from.
And you pay money not to become a member, but to become a supporter, and you pay through PayPal, and you cannot discover whether the money is coming from foreign sources or British sources.
The allegation that the Brexit Party was receiving large numbers of small donations, under £500, which is within the rules, but payments nonetheless that were undeclared, untraceable. At the same time, Nigel Farage was in Newcastle, and word filtering through that the Electoral Commission said it would go to his party offices tomorrow to, quote, review the systems in place when it came to donations. This was off the back of Gordon Brown's comments. Round 2, Farage's parry to the clunking fist.
Gordon Brown saying it's time you revealed who your donors are.
Absolutely disgusting smear. I mean, this from the man who was part of a Labour Party who, through Lord Levy, were, shall we say, making a lot of big donors members of the House of Lords. How dare! How dare he! Most of our money is being raised by people giving £25 to become registered supporters.
Round 3, Newcastle, and the unfortunate new symbol of disagreement without debate, the milkshake attack. But, more seriously, news that a second MEP, Molly Scott-Cato of the Greens, was referring Mr Farage to the European Anti-Fraud Office.
£13,000 for the house in Chelsea paid for by Aaron Banks? True or not true?
So is there a European election next week?
All of this sparked by a Channel 4 News investigation last week. It showed that during the months after the referendum, Nigel Farage, MEP, received approximately £450,000 of undeclared financial support from Aaron Banks.
Now, the rules from the European Union are quite clear in terms of MEPs receiving money, how they declare it, etc. And the allegation is that Nigel Farage, in not declaring those funds, broke those rules.
Mr Farage has subsequently said he didn't declare the money at the time because he was about to leave politics and had been seeking a new life in the US. But he was still an MEP. So today in Wakefield, we wanted to ask him about this.
Nigel Farage is doing interviews with the media on the top deck of the bus. He's not getting off the bus probably because of the incident with the milkshake earlier today. The BBC, ITV have queued up and are getting interviews. Channel 4 News have been barred from the bus. We have been told we're about the only broadcaster here and not allowed to do one-to-one interviews.
We were told we were banned because of an incident 6 weeks ago and were unaware of the ban until our investigation was broadcast last week. Before that, we had full access to Brexit Party events. We did try to talk to Richard Tice, though, chairman of the Brexit Party.
Did Nigel break the rules, the transparency rules for the European Union? Richard, can I give you a quick copy of the rules?
In the absence of an interview, we tried to give Mr Farage a copy of the European Parliamentary Code of Conduct for what MEPs are supposed to declare.
Dan, will you give that to Nigel for me?
If there is any sort of investigation, and it's still a big if, the European parliamentary elections, of course, on Thursday, will be a distant memory.
Well, we did ask Nigel Farage or a representative of the Brexit Party for an interview. Nobody was available. Just before we came on air, I spoke to Catherine Bearden, who, as well as being a Liberal Democrat MEP in the European Parliament, was one of 5 questors. Those are the people, the politicians, elected to scrutinise the finances and administration of members of the Parliament. I asked her what she was now planning to do about all this.
Well, I have written to the President and the services to alert them to the fact that there seems to be a lot of spending going on and money coming into Farage's activities that are not showing up on his record as on the public record in the Parliament. So the services are very good. They do try and keep an eye on MEPs, but my role as a quester is to inform them if I see some wrongdoing, and that's why I've written this letter.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be too crude about this, but some people might argue that the Parliament has been fairly loose about expenses and the rest of it over the years. Has he been really out of kilter with anybody else?
Oh, absolutely, and Nigel Farage has been fined before, as have other MEPs who have misspent the Parliament's money. They're very good at doing that, and they keep an eye on us all. But sometimes they can't see everything, and that's why I in my role as quester, I thought it was important that I brought that to the attention of the Parliament and the services, while everybody else has got their eye on something else at the moment.
And if he's found to have in some way abused the rules, what happens?
Well, it depends on how money has been spent, but there are options that the President can take. He can fine him, he can deduct some of his allowances for attending. I mean, not that Nigel attends that much, but they can be financial. What they can't do is take away their vote, but he's hardly ever there to do a vote anyway. So hitting him in the pocket is probably all that the President can do at the moment.
You talk about Mr Farage as an individual, but he's also a member of a party, and the Electoral Commission here is investigating that party. Do the powers exist in the Parliament in Europe to investigate a party?
They can do if it is a registered European party, and that is different from the electoral registration legislation that applies in the United Kingdom. So if there is money going to a European party, as UKIP has already been fined for misusing their money in the last Parliament, they can investigate that too. But the Electoral Commission is just dealing with a registered party in the United Kingdom, whereas what the Parliament looks at is the MEP as an individual.
The problem surely is that actually these sort of investigations take a very long time, and it may well be that if he is in any way found to be wanting in this regard, it may happen to him many years into his tenure if he wins.
It won't be years. It has to be done correctly, and so it has to be done with the amount of time. But it isn't years. If they found that there's been misappropriation of funds, then they will know that within months, I'm sure.
Catherine Bearder, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Thank you.
Interesting. What else is on? I think I've covered quite a lot of things in here today. We're looking at. Can't find anything else on it. I'm trying to find. I think I've covered it in this video, guys, unless there's anything else I can actually say. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and let's see, before I go, I might just do one more video. I was just going to end this one, but there's one more video I could find. We'll be doing some other streams today or tomorrow. I hope you've all enjoyed this one. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video with your friends, and I will catch you all in the next stream. Peace. And have a great night, guys. I'll be back soon. Do you like the video? Drop a comment and a like in the video. It's a good video. See you next one. Peace.